time since I live streamed, but this video would have been really long, so I was like, why not do it in live stream format, which is probably a huge mistake because I'm bad at talking live. But anyway, I have my little notes about season 3 and the finale and all that. So first, before we get into the season 3 as a whole and what I thought of the whole season of Rebels, let's talk about that finale though. So yeah, I don't know how many people actually saw it yet. I know it came out. See, I watched it like on my thingy, so I kind of saw it early before, it aired on Disney XD. So I don't know how many people actually have seen it. I think it comes out later tonight or something. They said 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. So from what I get, I guess it came out, like part 1 came out in the morning and part 2 at night, which is really weird, but whatever. But anyway, yeah. So there were a lot of big things that happened during this finale, but at the same time, not really. It wasn't that big of a finale. The first thing I'm going to say is that everybody's going to probably compare it to Season 2's finale and be extremely disappointed when they do that. Because, let's just get this right off the bat before anybody says something about it. You're not going to be able to compare Darth Vader's finale against Ahsoka to this. I mean, that's just common sense right there. Come on, how are you going to compare Darth Vader to this finale? There's just no way you'd be able to do that and make a fair comparison. I mean, it's Darth Vader, come on. Nice. But anyway, yeah. So, Thrawn, basically, the whole episode is Thrawn's, like I said, it'd be Thrawn's finale. Like I said earlier in the season, and it's basically him assaulting the rebel base on Atala. And oh my god, first off, I want to say finally, they made Thrawn he actually seemed like Thrawn. Fuck. Like, everything bad that happened in this episode was not due to, like, you couldn't sit there and say, oh shit, well, Thrawn could have easily prevented this, but, he's an idiot in this show. No, nothing that happened. This was true Thrawn right here. This was good. This was Thrawn as we all knew him before, and it was fucking fantastic. Also, we saw a bit more of Bendu, who's been out of the season. That was cool too. So, that and Thrawn. But as a whole, I would say the season 3 finale was fun to watch. It probably had some of my most favorite battle scenes. It's probably one of my most favorite battle scenes in Star Wars alone, not even just in Rebels. But the battle scenes in here were pretty actually intense, especially the space battle part and everything. Watching Thrawn just command the whole battle like that up in the Star Destroyer was just so intense, like watching him waiting to see what would happen next and everything. So, like I said, I think comparing it to Darth Vader is just a different, it's like apples to oranges. So I definitely think this finale was great for what it was, and seeing Thrawn at his like best, better than I've seen him in Rebels this whole season, was just fantastic. And it actually didn't center on Ezra too much, which I gotta say, I actually kind of liked. It felt like it was the rebellion as a whole, not really just Ezra or one specific character, but it kind of just felt like Phoenix Squadron, the rebellion as a whole. General Dodaro was in there, and who else? I think that was it as far as cameo appearances. But spoiler alert. So I'll give you a couple seconds to close your ears. We had one death this episode, and it was Commander Sato. Holy shit. That was an emotional moment for all fans of the show, because he's been in the show since we've known him forever, and he's just like, he's Phoenix Squadron's leader, or not Phoenix Squadron's leader, but their whole rebel cell leader, and he's finally gone. And the music, they did perfect with that, because the music, everything was just on point. Right there, everything was on point with his death and everything, and he went out in probably a really good way. A lot better than what I thought they were gonna do a long time ago, where they were, what's up, Bendu? Went out a lot better than like what people thought he was gonna. He went out against Thrawn like people thought he was gonna do, but instead of you know, kind of like head on against Thrawn, it was more focused on what he was doing for, you know, the mission and the rebellion and everything, and just his look, the music, all of that kind of tied that death in together to be extremely emotional and extremely good. Like, I was even, it put me in tears, so I was like, good job, guys. You guys definitely hit those key points with that. It still sucks too that he's now gone. So that was just, man, that was a big moment. I think that was probably the biggest moment of the finale, just to be honest. You know, because no one else really died of significance. But yeah, and then also another good part was Thrawn. One, the Death Troopers made a cameo. I knew I was forgetting something. The Death Troopers made a cameo. I don't know how they got there, first of all. They're supposed to be Krennic's bodyguards, but I don't know how the hell all of a sudden Thrawn has them. From what I saw before when Rogue One was out, it was basically Krennic's personal bodyguards under the Science and Research Division. So how the fuck they came to be with Thrawn is just a mystery, without the explanation that basically they got loaned to Thrawn by Krennic himself. That would be the only explanation for it, really. But they were cool. They were kind of just for show for the most part. You didn't get to see the Death Troopers in this episode really do too much until kind of the end, but they still, I don't know, just hearing the Death Trooper noises was pretty cool though. So that was pretty fucking cool. But yeah, other than that, that was all the cameos. I'm like 90% positive now. But yeah, Thrawn on the ground he held his own and everything like that. I was expecting him to I'm so used to the Thrawn from the whole season that, like, when they laid the mines down for the walkers and stuff, I half expected that to be like Thrawn didn't even expect that type thing, but he actually sent his, you know, troops to detect where the mines were, all that. He actually planned that out, and it was like, oh, okay. He was actually smart, and it was just, the whole episode, I was just like, when is he going to make that stupid move that I'm going to be like, well, there we go, there's rebels kind of making Thrawn look like an idiot again. But it never came, and I was so happy that moment never came where he looked like an idiot, that whole episode. My only qualm with it is that with the whole episode as far as Thrawn goes, is that he did let the rebels escape when Bendu was doing his little force storm. He did let the rebels escape, but I'm not too hard on him for that due to the fact that there's like a fucking force storm. But yeah, so I mean, Thrawn, I think, was the highlight of this episode, even more so than the rebels themselves, or Sabine, or any of them, or you know, I think Thrawn was definitely the highlight of this episode. And Callus was also a big standout in this episode, even though he really didn't have like a big part. One, he got captured. Thrawn revealed that basically he knew he was Fulcrum and everything. So now Callus's role in the Rebels is going to change dramatically. He's no longer part of the Empire. I mean, everyone kind of saw that coming, though. Obviously, after the one episode, Imperial Eyes episode, that was common sense that he was going to eventually be on the Rebels at the end of this season. But it's one thing, you know, knowing it and then seeing exactly, oh, it definitely happened, you know. So that was an interesting kind of development too. And now I kind of like, what is his role going to be? Is he going to serve the rebellion as a whole? Is he going to be part of Phoenix Squadron themselves and everything like that? So yeah, even though he didn't have a huge part in the show, in the episode, it was still enough to make an impact. So see Bendu, and yeah, Bendu I think was the other big character. We learned some kind of new stuff about him. You know, he's we knew he was ancient, but he kind of clearly said it in this episode, and he went on to, you know, about how long he's been there, kind of just ages, and Kanan tries to basically talk to him and tell him that neutrality is wrong and all that stuff. And that was a good little speech by Kanan to Bendu about the Jedi who went into reclusion after the Clone Wars. They, you know, some like Kanan tried to fight back and everything like that, and the neutrality kind of highlighted on a certain aspect, like, you know, how right or wrong is it for the Jedi to be neutral like that? How right or wrong is it for them to stay in hiding except to help people like Kanan does? It kind of makes you think about other stuff in the actual trilogy, like as far as Yoda and everything like that. Like Yoda, the Grandmaster of the Jedi, he, you know, he stayed in seclusion, and I mean, granted, if he didn't, he probably would have died and wouldn't have been there to help Luke, but at the same time, you know, how much of a moral conflict was it for Yoda to actually just sit there and not be able to help the galaxy in his little crazy nature world that he was in on Data? So yeah, alright, see you, Ghost. I like all of that this episode kind of highlighted, and like I said, Rebels kind of always is for the finales. It always lives up to the finales. Every single time, I mean, no matter how, you know, what you want to say about the rest of the season, the finales of Rebels are usually pretty freaking good. So yeah, that was a cool moment that gave some insight for me as far as like Yoda and stuff. It's just like, when you think about it, they're kind of like, you know, it goes against the Jedi way in a way, for him to just not do anything, you know? And to be honest, he never really knew if Luke was going to come to him or not. That wasn't something he knew of. He was just hiding out. Like, why not do something like Kanan did or anything like that? Kind of just makes you feel like Yoda was not that good of a Jedi at the end of it. Fucked up, man. Fucked up, Master Yoda. But yeah, the episode was pretty well directed. The dialogue was great. The music was great. The battles were intense. So again, definitely a great finale, and it was cool seeing kind of the rebellion come together. Obviously, the rebels had to leave Tala and go to Yavin 4. Eventually, that had to happen, and now it did. So it kind of wrapped up that whole segment of the rebel cells being separate. This whole season was about building the rebellion. So I think this finale was a nice fit to that theme as far as getting to the point where the rebellion was as we know it in the live action movies. Also, it's kind of weird how Mon Mothma, I know she, you know, she didn't come help the rebels on Atala because obviously, you know, she didn't want to get captured by Thrawn, but just kind of weird, I guess. I don't know. I feel like they had enough where she could have definitely been of help. I know the key point was to definitely introduce Sabine back into the kind of back into the mix and everything. But still, I just feel like that was kind of a weird thing. But there wasn't too many complaints about the episode as far as negative things like that. That was one of my only few that I had. And yeah, so Bendu was freaking great. Back to him. I forgot to mention about his whole Force Storm thing when he got angry and everything. I'm wondering like if we're ever gonna see him again. That I wonder if he's, because he really didn't play too big of a role in this season, as much as like, you know, everyone thought he would have. He kind of seemed like at the beginning of the season like he was going to be kind of a main. He seemed like he was going to be a main part of this season, but he really just ended up not being a main part of the season, and he kind of was a big part of the finale, but not the rest of the season. So I'm wondering, he didn't die when Thrawn shot him. He just vanished. So I'm wondering if we're going to see him maybe in season 4, hopefully? I don't know. I don't even know what season 4 is about. I'm gonna probably speculate on that soon, give it some thought. But you know, also, if you remember the mid-season trailer, I think it was, they showed off Yavin 4 being in Rebels. They showed off that Yavin 4 was gonna make an appearance. Yeah, that never happened. I guess it got cut from the cutting room floor. Because at the end of it, they talked about going to Yavin, but they never actually did it. They never actually showed it. They jumped to hyperspace and the show was over. So that was disappointing to me. I was like, fuck, come on. Show me Yavin. But yeah. Space battles. The space battle is probably the most intense part, actually. The second half of the episode actually just was... It was kind of like... It was definitely calmed down from the first one, I feel like. The first part was kind of... It wasn't action intense, it was nail-biting intense. Like, just watching Thrawn and them kind of go at each other strategically, wise. Him and Sato. I think that was definitely... like the nail biter, but after the second half was more about like Sabine and Ezra and everything, them destroying the ship. That wasn't as intense in that way. Don't really know how else to say that, but yeah. So definitely the first half, I would say, was my favorite part of this finale. Was the first half of the episode, because I was just, that kept me so engaged, and I was just like, what's gonna happen next? And then, like I said, the Sato thing was definitely like the highlight, because that took me kind of by surprise. I mean, you could see it coming once it obviously started, but you know, when before this finale even happened, you know, Sato dying was on my list, but not something that I was kind of thinking of when I started watching it. So that was definitely weird. I don't know why Thrawn didn't just kill Callus, to be honest, though. That was another one of the things I was kind of confused about. Why wouldn't he just kill Callus? He is a traitor. He's, I'm pretty sure they've executed people for less in the Empire. Treason is definitely punishable by death within the Empire, so why he didn't kill Callus, I don't know. Because Thrawn definitely should have known that he would have found a way to escape. I mean, especially once Thrawn took the Death Troopers off of there. I mean, come on, Price is not leaving Callus to Price is just not gonna hold it. That was I think that part was kind of foolish on his part. So yeah, but like I said, overall episode as a whole was phenomenal. Great job, and yeah, but as far as season 3 goes, this is where it starts to go downhill a little bit. As far as season 3 goes, I mean, it's like my official review of season 3 is that it was okay. Yes, the episodes were actually a lot better than like episode 2 and stuff, but there was still the problem, or I mean, not really the problem, but there was still the thing like episode 2 had, or season 2 had, where this whole season was pretty much just all fillers. And like I said, a filler kind of just means nothing big came out of the episode. And that was definitely the case with this whole freaking season. Okay, because yeah, I haven't really looked at like how they've expanded since Rogue One, but I know Death Troopers on Rogue One, Death Troopers, when Rogue One came out, they were officially like for Krennic, and that's like what they had said for Star Wars, but I figured there's probably some expansion upon it. I just haven't looked at it.
We are losing a control point.
I didn't know. I was like, because when Rogue One came out, I did look into the Death Troopers, and at that time, they basically said that it was Krennic's kind of like own bodyguard. Specifically, they were like part of the scientific research and development part of the Empire, and that was the only part they were part of, the only department they were part of. So that was why I was like, how the fuck are they serving? Thrawn is definitely not part of the scientific research and development. So that's why I was kind of a little weirded out about that. But anyway, yeah, season 3 as a whole. Yeah, I know it is, but I'm saying like, you know, the information on it I know the timeline's set before that, but they're constantly, you know, they were a new edition, so they're constantly changing the information about them and updating, like, you know, new stuff. So at that time, even though it's set before Rogue One, you know, their descriptions kind of are gonna change throughout when they make new content and stuff, like in Rebels. But yeah, Season 3 definitely was just kind of okay. The fillers definitely kind of lowered my review of it. Like I said a lot of times though, I did like the fillers. Don't get me wrong, like I liked the fillers as far as like the episodes themselves as a standalone. They were good episodes. There wasn't anything wrong with them. It was just purely the fact that there was so many fillers that it made it kind of like, it left me wanting more of a plot progression. A lot of the plot progression itself was just, oh, we're building up the Empire. But, I mean, they could have easily developed, like, I wanted kind of more development on the characters and stuff like that. I definitely wanted to see Ahsoka in there as well. That was upsetting, too, to have her not show up at all. Fuck. I wanted Ahsoka to show back up, because we still don't know what happened to her. She's still kind of like AFK alt still. So a lot of that other stuff like that kind of made me lower my review of Season 3 as a whole. Not as bad as Season 2 though. Season 2 was just full of fillers. Full of them. This one was full of them, but they still had a minor purpose to them, as far as like building up that rebellion and stuff like that. Season 2 was full of legit just no, like there was no purpose to any of the episodes happening at the time. So, like I said, they were enjoyable as a whole, and some of Season 2's fillers were also boring. That was the other problem with Season 2 for me. Season 3 did a great job of making the fillers at least entertaining and kind of comical and stuff like that, and, you know, leaving some, even if it's a minor takeaway, like the proton bombs and stuff, like ammo. Half the fillers for Rebels were just like, basically the takeaway from it was like, oh, we got more ammo. I mean, that's not something you definitely can consider noteworthy when it comes to making like a big impact on the rebellion. Getting ammo every single filler episode is not, that's not something that you can say was a huge takeaway. But like I said, the fillers were entertaining, and that's where they got plus points for me, because Season 2's fillers were just, I skipped half of them because they were just not watchable. Definitely still think, like, as far as Rebels goes as a whole, I still stick with my statement that it is better than Clone Wars, Season 3 of Clone Wars. Season 3 of Rebels is better than Season 3 of Clone Wars. I still stick to that statement, just because the one thing Rebels does really good, like Clone Wars was full of action and stuff like that, yes. A lot more than Rebels, even so now. The one thing that Rebels does that I do like a lot is that Rebels, they have a lot of character development and a lot more backstory and lore development. Rebels is really good with that, and that is why I like Rebels, and that's why I say it's better than Clone Wars, because Clone Wars had a lot of action, but that was kind of the central focus of it. I feel like Rebels is good for the huge Star Wars fans, because this period is a time that wasn't expanded upon too much, and the little bit of expansions they did, Rebels has kind of canonized a lot of the stuff that got uncanonized when Disney took it over. A lot of the stuff from the extended universe during the Galactic Empire, the little bit of stuff that we did hear about backstory-wise, Rebels has canonized a lot of that, and that is why I say Rebels is better, because they don't just focus on action, which I like. I actually prefer that. You know, if they focused all on action, it'd just be another Clone Wars, and we wouldn't really learn too much about what's going on in the rebellion and stuff like that. Especially like backstory and canonizing everything. So Rebels definitely definitely goes above and beyond when it comes to that stuff. Like just the dialogue and some of the stuff they mention, and they kind of just they provide so much insight into things that the Clone Wars really didn't. I mean, the Clone Wars provided somewhat insight into like certain things, especially regarding the Jedi of that era. But really, for the most part, the Clone Wars didn't provide that much kind of lore stuff. They didn't add on to too much of the already existing canon. It was a lot of big battles and stuff that they added on, but there wasn't too much like backstory. I mean, I think the best part of Clone Wars was like later on, you know, they did add on like Bane and Darth Bane and stuff when Yoda saw him and stuff like that. But that was the last season of Clone Wars. So definitely, Rebels has done that since almost day one. They've shown us things about the Galactic Empire that were like, oh, freaking cool. I mean, the Inquisitors, you know, backstory into the Jedi, the Sith, and everything like that. People's perceptions of the Empire and everything. That definitely, I think, made me enjoy Rebels so much more, because I look forward to all those things that are like that, where they're canonizing stuff like the TIE Defender, or where they're expanding upon certain conversations or points of view. So yeah, as far as season 4 goes, I really hope, what I'm hoping for season 4 is that they add the Emperor. He's like my dream villain for the Rebels. Not necessarily from the standpoint of he needs to be in the fight or something. It would be, I do want to see him fight like once. I don't know how, like, it doesn't matter how it's done, but I want to see him fight. But it's just, I know he's a huge character to add, but I mean, Vader was too, so then they added him. They could do it. It's just, you know, it just needs to be done right. But I would love for the Emperor to make his appearance in Rebels for a season or so. Even just to hear, like, because the guy that voices the Emperor all the time, he's really good at it. Even just to hear him, like, the dialogue for the Emperor would be so watchable. I think that would be great. Some people are saying they want the Rogue One characters to appear, but I don't know. I mean, like Cassian Andor and K2SO, but I don't know. I mean, I do think it's not. I don't think it's impossible, or I don't think it's highly unlikely even, actually. I think it's pretty. I think it definitely is an easy possibility that Rogue One characters will appear. My only thing with the Rogue One characters appearing is like specifically like Cassian Andor and stuff. I just don't understand how, I guess, that would happen. You know, he's a spy for the Rebellion, and you know, Phoenix Squadron isn't exactly spies. I mean, all the spying missions they've done were, you know, all the spying missions they've done were in their cell, so they had limited people to work with. But when it comes to the Rebellion as a whole, they work kind of like the Empire. They work like an official organization. So they wouldn't send Phoenix Squadron, who are not part of like the spy department, as you saw. Like Cassian Andor has his own group of spies and his own leadership, his own hierarchy. Phoenix Squadron wouldn't be part of that, so I don't understand. Throwing him in there would be weird. They'd have to meet by chance if they were to meet. Kind of like Chirrut Îmwe and Baze. Same thing would have to happen with them as well. They would all have to meet by chance. That would be the only way it would make sense. But yeah, I'm all for Rogue One characters appearing as long as they do it right. Same with the Emperor. Like, I don't want the Emperor rushed in there or anything. But Rebels, like I said, I think Rebels excels when it comes to the characters and when it comes to like dialogue and nailing all the little stuff that makes Star Wars for the big Star Wars fans. That's what I think Rebels excels at, is all of that little stuff. Like, if you remember the fight between Darth Vader, I mean, he was actually using his lightsaber style in there. Like, they actually animated that perfectly. And I mean, when you look at like Clone Wars, when you look at some of that stuff, you can kind of see that they're mixing a lot of the forms, which yes, they were trained to do, but at the same time, it wasn't the exact same as watching like the live action counterparts, or watching like how they're supposed to fight. Clone Wars didn't really go in depth to those little details like that, and that's what Rebels does. So, I mean, seeing seeing stuff like that would definitely make the Emperor the best. It would make him a pretty good option to appear on Rebels, because I know for sure that they would nail his dialogue, his styles, his stances. They would just nail everything about what makes the Emperor the Emperor. So, definitely, I think that would be my dream villain, but I just don't. I don't know how plausible it is. I mean, they have to keep improving, to be honest. I think Thrawn and Vader are kind of an equal standing as far as, like, how much people like those characters. I think Thrawn and Vader are definitely both pretty equal as far as that. Thrawn and Vader are both high up. So if they have to keep improving upon the main villain and they have nowhere to go but up, I would say the Emperor has to appear somewhat soon, because you really can't go much higher than Thrawn and Vader. But yeah, I mean, like I said, that's kind of my review of Season 3, is that it was just kind of, for the most part, it was okay, but the finale, I definitely give a 10 out of 10, just like I always do, just for the fact that the finale is always good. The finale is always so worth it when it comes to Star Wars Rebels. They make it so good. So yeah, I don't know but yeah, that's it. I mean, I reviewed each episode for the most part, so I'm not gonna go into episodes specifically. But yeah. I still think also that they should have the only other thing I'm trying to think of stuff I can say about it, but the only other thing I think that I have to say about Season 3 is that I wish they stuck with what they kind of highlighted from the initial trailer was Ezra's dark, like they were kind of showing off Ezra's dark side. I wish they kind of stuck with that more, because that lasted literally 2 episodes. That was really disappointing, because they made it seem like that was going to be the premise of the entire season, that and Thrawn, and it lasted 2 episodes. So that was a huge disappointment for me. Especially since they had so many fillers, I feel like they could have filled that in with a lot of Ezra stuff, or maybe even more No, not Obi-Wan. They could have filled that in with more of Ezra's dark side struggle and stuff like that. Or even more Bendu scenes and stuff, like kind of getting into his history and stuff. I think that was a big waste of potential right there. But other than that, there's nothing more I can say about Season 3 of Rebels. It's over. It's done with. It was great. It'll be cool now to see. I mean, Yavin, even though they skimped us on Yavin, when it came to the finale of this one, now they can show Yavin in the, obviously they're going to show it in the Season 4. So, I mean, I don't know, it's cool, I guess. I hate when they put stuff in the trailer, big things. It's kind of like what they did with Rogue One. Jin's scene on the bridge in the trailer was like that TIE fighter that came up behind her. They completely cut that out and changed it. And I was like, what the hell, dude? I hate when they change huge things like that in the trailer, especially because in both trailers, what they changed was the ending part, which is always like supposed to be the best part. Actually, the ending part for Rebels was Darth Maul and Obi-Wan, so scratch that. But like I said, Yavin was in there, so I hate when they change that stuff. But yeah, like I said, Season 4. Now let's get on that subject. What will Season 4 be about? And that one is a complete mystery. I mean, obviously they're going to be on Yavin now, so they'll be conducting, missions for the Rebel Alliance now as a whole. So that's going to be a huge change for the Rebels of Phoenix Squadron. That's going to be something completely new, is working as a big team like that. They've never had to do that before, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes, working as a huge squadron like that, or as a whole Rebel Alliance. It's going to be so weird. And another thing, Mon Mothma, main character, no, for Season 4. Don't know that yet. She could have just been a cameo, and they might not see her for a while after. I mean, it's not like she has any like extreme ties to them. There's no reason why they would see her all the time. You know, she's the commander of the Rebel Alliance, so there's no reason. But like I said, the Rebel Alliance being formed now, I definitely think that leaves room for the Emperor to make his appearance now. Because now it's going to be focused on the rebellion as a whole, and that means the only really like what villains are going to do that. I know Thrawn is going to obviously make his return. They're most likely not done with Thrawn, but I think that definitely leaves room for. I don't think it's the death of the Ghost Crew just yet. I think they're going to last a little bit longer, at least probably till season 5 anyway. Because, like I said in the other video about Ezra's death, the Ghost Crew can technically go up until... They can go as far as, episode, 6. They can go up until episode 6. And potentially even farther if they pull, an Obi-Wan shit about, the Yoda keeping it a secret. Although I still think that's not... I don't think that's as big of a possibility. So, there were some good suggestions on the comment thread, though, besides that. I'm trying to remember some of them, but... I definitely don't think the Rebels will be dying, this soon. I think they'll last a little bit longer. But, I mean, yeah. I definitely think I want to say that they'll definitely include the Emperor, because, honestly, it would be a complete waste if they skipped out. Oh, fuck, where'd he go? It would be a complete waste if they skipped out on introducing the Emperor, especially now that the Rebel Alliance is completely formed. I mean, there has to be some type of dialogue or something, or something like that with the Emperor. Because now the Rebels are a threat that the Emperor is more aware of as far as, they're organized and everything like that. The Emperor would be a lot more concerned about this threat now than he would have been, when they were completely separate cells. So, I definitely... think the Emperor has an extremely plausible reason to show up in Star Wars Rebels now. And not only that, he would be a great villain, but like I said, implementing him would be the hardest part, just for the fact that, he can't really attack the Rebels head on. Anyone that encounters him would be the dead. They would die. That's the one thing about it, is that implementing him would be hard just for that reason. Nobody knows about him being a Sith Lord. Nobody knows that he has Force powers. And just like in the Sith Lord's novel, he doesn't reveal his powers, one, if he has any doubt that he can kill somebody. If he thinks someone is going to escape, Sidious does not reveal that he has powers, because he doesn't want that to go, obviously, he doesn't want that to go public. So, I feel like that's the hardest part about introducing him as a character. He would have to have his own story arc, kind of, like I said I wanted with Vader to have his own... I wanted Vader to kind of have his own arc, where they focused on him, not only... him around the main characters. Every scene with Vader was him around Callus, or him around... It wasn't Vader himself just alone. And I think with the Emperor, it would have to be exactly that. The Emperor would have to be... It would have to be scenes where they show... Or they'd have to show the Emperor show up with Vader. But there's just no way that they can show the Emperor ever interacting with the Ghost Crew unless that's how they die. Which... Actually, I think that would be probably the coolest death scene for them ever. To be honest, what better way to let the Ghost Crew die than by the Emperor's hand? Especially Ezra and Kanan. I think those two would be actually really cool to see die by the Emperor's hand. Yeah. So especially they're Jedi and everything. So we know obviously Syndulla is alive by the time of Rogue One, so she can't die. Neither can Chopper, but Ezra and Kanan definitely can. And like I said, there's no Chopper was there too. He survives. I mean, weird word for droid, but yeah. But yeah. I think Ezra and Kanan's death would be the best by the Emperor's hand. So, like I said, the rest of them just can't. The rest of them just can't interact with him because he would either, the only way they'd be able to interact is if it was like a public setting or something where he wouldn't be able to kill them or show his powers. He'd be kind of that he'd be standing by kind of like dialogue wise while, you know, his royal guards basically dealt with the rebels. That's the only way it would work. But I still think having him in the show as a villain, even if it was just dialogue wise, would still make him kind of the best villain ever. And then, obviously, like Rebels always does, the finale would probably be him fighting somebody. And not only that, but he does have his lightsabers. That is canon on the Sith Lord's book. He does still have his lightsabers, so don't be fooled by the fact that a lot of people wonder if he has lightsabers or not, and especially in the new canon. People always wonder if he actually has lightsabers or if he just uses Force Lightning ever since the battle with Yoda. He does have lightsabers, a lightsaber. He just doesn't ever take it out due to the fact that, obviously, like, why? One, he has no reason to, but two, he never prefers to use his lightsaber unless he has to. He prefers using Force Lightning. As to why that is, most likely just because he enjoys torturing people and he's sadistic as fuck. But, shit. But yeah, that he does have a lightsaber. It is canon. He did use it in the book he did use it in the book of the Sith Lords when he was fighting with Vader. Not fighting against Vader, but fighting with him, like alongside him. So yeah, it'd be cool to see Sidious get into a lightsaber fight again, like with someone that he couldn't directly overpower with Force Lightning. That'd be cool to see that happen. But yeah, Kanan and Ezra, the only problem with that, I definitely feel like they would get wrecked by Sidious way faster. Because Rebels is realistic, I feel like it would be like Darth Maul and Obi-Wan. There's just no way that they'd be able to hold their own against Sidious. Not without a lot of fucking training. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. Sidious is one of the most powerful Sith Lords ever. Not just for his lightsaber skills, but the fact that the fact that he has such a good usage of the Force and everything like that, and he's just so unpredictable. Makes him one of the deadliest opponents in the history of the Sith. It's fucking nuts. So, yeah, it wasn't even a minute fight. It was literally like 15 seconds. But like I said in my review, I actually liked the fight. It was more symbolic, which for a fight like that, where there's decades of closure that was happening, a symbolic fight I definitely preferred over a longer fight. And especially the way they did it, like people said, is that you know, Obi-Wan tried to do the same, or Maul tried to do the same thing to Obi-Wan they did to Qui-Gon, and it was symbolic in that way. So yeah, I definitely thought that fight should have been a 1 minute fight, as well as really like Sidious. I don't know. I feel like it'd be slightly longer than that fight, but at the same time, it can't be too long because you don't. You know, Rebels is accurate where they don't show. They accurately show people's power levels in that show. Like Ezra got his. It's kind of like Naruto. Like when remember if you ever watch Naruto, freaking if you ever watch Naruto, when they were kids, they got their asses handed to them like left and right. Rebels kind of does the same thing. Like, just like when Ezra tried to fight Vader, Vader just casually fucking just tossed him, blocked like his 2 attacks, and just broke his lightsaber and just tossed him to the side like he was nothing. That is how I think a fight with Sidious would pretty much go, is that Sidious would just find them of no... Like, they just wouldn't be an issue at all to Sidious. But I think they might be able to hold their own slightly. I think they might be able to hold their own to an extent. So, like, long enough to make it an interesting fight without it seeming like, yeah, right, that would never happen. It's just that fine line. But I definitely think that would be the best way for Sidious to come in. Although, if that were to happen, I don't want it to be next season, because I don't want Ezra and Kanan to die already, nor will they kill Ezra and Kanan off before Rebels ends, because, I mean, for the most part, Ezra and Kanan are rebels for most people, and as soon as they die, the show's going to get way less interesting. So I think when they die is going to be probably the last season. So, you know, when they die, Rebels is over. They might do like an epilogue where they show Hera, you know, at Scarif or something like that, where they show that, a lot of the cameos from Rogue One. But for the most part, when Kanan and Ezra die, you can pretty much guarantee that the show is going along with it. Unless they find a new central focus on it, that would be the only way it stays, because people would just lose interest, including me, to be honest. I mean, even for me, a lot of the show Ezra's the main character of the show, and a lot of the show has developed into watching Ezra grow into a Jedi and all of that stuff. So as soon as, you know, those characters leave, those characters that everybody's kind of invested the most time into, people aren't just going to stick around to watch Hera do shit. I mean, you know, it's they need some type of new angle if they were to die, those two. And yes, when Maul died, that was a tragic moment.
The rebels have temporarily pushed us back and are taking a control
Yep.
point.
And yeah, Sidious just wrecked fucking Savage. But yeah, they held Maul and Savage. See, that's what I'm saying, is like, I feel like Ezra and them could hold their own a little bit. But see, the thing is here, like, Savage and Maul, when they fought Sidious, they were definitely they were way more trained than Ezra and they were way more trained than Ezra and Kanan are. Like, Kanan, when you think about Kanan, he's essentially just still a Jedi Knight. He's not a master. He hasn't trained that long. And then, you know, he went into seclusion and stuff like that. Ezra's is kind of the same way. Ezra's progressed, but he's still not as strong as Maul and Savage were when they went up against Sidious. And I mean, while they're weaker, Sidious hasn't gotten any weaker. He's lounging around in that big Empire chair, yeah. I mean, it probably weakens the bones, but for the most part, I'm pretty sure Sidious is at the same strength level that he was when he fought Yoda. If not, at least pretty much close to it. You know, he has a lot of people handle his work like Vader, and he has the whole Empire, but Sidious still likes to get out once in a while, and if you can take the Sith Lords as any example, the book Sith Lords, if you can take that as any example, he was still Sidious was still way powerful. I mean, the book he was still at the same level he was when he fought Yoda, if not, maybe even slightly more powerful. I mean, books have a habit of making stuff a lot better, but Sidious was definitely... he definitely didn't get any weaker from his time in the Empire chair. Definitely didn't get weaker sitting in that big-ass chair that he has. So, I mean, I would assume he still trains and stuff like that in the secrecy of his own place. So, it's hard for me to see Ezra and Kanan keeping up with Sidious as long as Maul and Savage did, just for the fact that Maul and Savage were way more trained. And like I said, Rebels is good at being accurate as far as the characters' power levels. So I feel like, yeah, they would definitely die a lot faster than Maul and Savage did. And on top of that, when he was fighting Maul and Savage, he was half toying with them too. That's the sad part. Like, you've never seen they've never shown Sidious get in a serious fight. That's the scariest part of all of it, is that they've never seen him actually be serious. Half the time, he's literally prolonging the fight to just enjoy the fight.
Defend that control point.
Yeah,
the
you
rebels
were.
are taking
Yeah,
control
you
of
got.
it.
Yeah, so yeah, you got fucked up. Like, you got fucked up. And he was just laughing the whole time. Yeah, like Sidious has never been serious in a fight, except I think Yoda was his only serious fight you've seen him in, and because that was live action, it definitely didn't show off Sidious's true potential. I mean, the only way you can think of it as far as his true potential goes is that he fought fucking Yoda, the second best swordsman in the Jedi Order. So, yeah, definitely a bit of a definitely a bit of a stretch for Yoda, for fucking Kanan and Ezra to be able to keep with that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Season 4 is probably going to be about, you know, the rebellion's actions to lead up to A New Hope and stuff like that, and to lead up to Scare. Like, it's probably going to be about them learning to work together as a rebel alliance, most likely. I would think, and probably, hopefully for me, I want them to highlight more of like Kanan and Ezra's journey as far as like what they're going to do since we're coming really close to A New Hope. If they move it forward a year too, it'll only be a year from Scarab. That's pretty freaking close, which means that season 5 will probably be, you know, the prologue to Scarab. Like that'll be, or the season finale will probably be actually the prologue. We'll be like pretty close right there. Yeah, I think you're done, bud. I'm pretty sure Oppress is done. He's left the building for good. Especially now that Maul's left the building, there's really no reason for him to come back. I want an Old Republic TV show. That'd be cool. But, see, Qui-Gon's Force Ghost would be a cool one, but there's no reason he would really appear to Kanan, I guess. I think Season 4 might introduce Ahsoka back. Like, they have to close her story, too. They have to. She's obviously alive from the end of Season 2. She is alive. So. Oh, you know what? Fucking theory time. Speculation. Just thought of something. She was stuck in the Sith temple. She got stuck there. So, I mean, maybe she did die. I forgot, it blew up, didn't it? Yeah, she probably survived, but she was stuck in the Sith temple. What if she comes back as the main villain for being corrupted by the dark side? That would be pretty cool and interesting too. Wait, when did that happen? Has it been that long? Did I forget something? I just remember her, like, the end of... She didn't get shown in Season 3, and at the end of Season 2, the last thing I remember them showing of her...
feeling about this.
The last thing I remember them saying about her was that... Or seeing about her was that she died... Or she was in the Sith Temple when, you know, the planet blew up and everything. I'm trying to remember the end of Season 2, like, as far as that part. I'm trying to remember if Vader and them were shown walking after Hera and them escaped. I think they actually... Oh, it was just the Sith Temple that blew up, wasn't it? It was just the Sith Temple that blew up, so actually, you know, the whole planet didn't blow up, I don't think. I'm trying to fucking remember what the hell happened at the end, if the whole planet blew up or if it was just the Sith Temple. Because if it was just the Sith Temple, that means Ahsoka could have lived. Because I do remember Vader walking away, like, slowly from the blast. Yeah, it was just the temple that blew up. Okay. So, yeah, Ahsoka could definitely be alive. Hell, shit. If Vader got away injured, you know, Ahsoka could have easily, you know, got away. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, my thing, she could have, since she's pretty much stuck there and no one went back to search for her, my thing is that she could come back as, the villain due to being corrupted by the dark side and stuff like that. I mean, she wasn't even a Jedi per se, nor would she be a Sith technically. But she could come back with a vengeance, especially since they really didn't go back to look for her or anything. Oh yeah. I remember that now, yeah. That symbolism. That's true, yeah. Either way, I'm pretty sure that she's gonna come back just for the fact that they have to finish her storyline. And, you know, leaving it as it is right now, as if, like, up in the air, wouldn't really be... They're gonna finish it. I'm just surprised that she didn't come back this season, to be honest. I actually thought she was gonna make an appearance, but... I guess with the addition of Thrawn and everything, I guess that's another thing that they could have done with Season 3, is focus on that storyline instead of all the fillers, but whatever. Yeah, I think next season will probably focus on her, and then I think the Emperor should just appear for the last season. That's pretty much... That's what I'm going to say about him. He should appear for whatever the last season of Rebels is. He should be the villain for the very last season. I think he'd be the best villain for whatever the last season is, and have him kill Ezra and Kanan. Like, long stretch, but whatever. But yeah, I think Ahsoka will make an appearance again. As far as like her role in the Rebel Alliance, I'm kind of curious about that. And also, I'm wondering if she'll die. She's technically not a Jedi, so technically, from that standpoint, she can survive if she doesn't want anything to do with like the rebellion. I mean, Ahsoka can survive if she went to mind her own business. Like just kind of stay with the daughter or something. Like stay separate from the whole war of the Galactic Empire. Ahsoka definitely. There's no reason they have to kill her off because she's not. She doesn't believe in the Jedi. So Yoda would be correct in saying there's no more Jedi. And on top of that, if she wants nothing to do with the rebellion, there's no reason she would, you know, there's no reason Yoda would have been able to call on her for help to defeat the Emperor. So, yeah, she's a great Jedi, which isn't really a Jedi when you think about it. I mean, it's not the Jedi in the traditional sense that she was a Jedi, is what I'm saying. I mean, I know the term Jedi is in there, but she's not a traditional Jedi, so... That's not really. I don't consider Grey Jedi real Jedi. In the aspect of like Yoda's Jedi generation. So yeah, there's actually no reason to kill her off. As long as she just minds her own business and doesn't want anything to do with the rebellion for the most part anymore, there's really no reason to kill her off at all. So that's actually kind of good news, I guess. It's sad because, like, I mean, that's what I said too. Was the only way that that's the only way that Kanan and Ezra are gonna live too. Is if for some reason they want nothing to do with the rebellion. But unlike Ahsoka, there's no reason that would be their like what they come to. There's no reason that, especially after the speech Kanan gave, and especially Ezra, like they're too invested in the rebellion to be just all of a sudden I don't care about any of it, so that's more why I say they're most likely gonna die, is because of that. And I just know that it's gonna be a good scene because, if anything, every time someone dies in Rebels, it's such a good scene. The music, everything is so on point. But yeah, I mean I think that pretty much wraps up everything I had to say about the finale, Season 3, and Season 4. So, probably gonna finish this match or so, and finish up this stream. But yeah, I just hope Season 4 doesn't have a shit ton of filler episodes this time. I say that every single time, but... And then as soon as I was like... Rebels always does that thing where it's like, at the very beginning, they're like, oh, you have fucking like 3 really good episodes at the very beginning, and then filler episodes all for like days, weeks, months, years, and then it's like, okay, mid-season episode, awesome, back to fillers, days, weeks, months, years, and then you finally get to the finale, and it's like, oh, this was probably the greatest show on earth. That's pretty much how every season of Rebels seems to go. Yes, yeah, I'm pretty sure Bendu will make an appearance, because this whole season he just wasn't an important character, and I feel like it'd be too weird to leave him like that, like just leave him the way he ended. Just like for him to be out of the show after that would be kind of disappointing. My only thing is like I guess they'd have to travel back to Atalo to see him because I doubt he would leave. You know, like he said, he's been there for ages. He's the Bendu who's always there on Atalo, who sits there and is guardian and all that. So I really doubt he would leave.
Prepare for Imperial assault. We currently have the upper hand.
Yeah, hopefully more Sith episodes. That'd be cool. But yeah, I doubt he would leave. Even if, I guess if he did, I guess he could, but I doubt he would. But Kanan and them always know where to go. Not like the planet got destroyed or anything, so they always know where to go, I guess, if he needs to talk to Bendu again.
Commander Skywalker has joined us.
But yeah, I'm definitely hoping a lot less fillers next season and a lot more main arcs. I'm wondering if Thrawn's gonna make a return or not, to be honest. I'm definitely gonna read the Thrawn book and see how much of Rebels is in that book, or if it takes place before the events of Rebels. But I don't know if it does or not. It'll probably have flashbacks. It probably takes place during the Galactic Civil War, and it'll probably have flashbacks into Thrawn's history, kind of like it does with the other Star Wars books, kind of like it did with Bloodlines for Leia. It just did flashbacks into her history where she like remembered a lot of stuff. I feel like they'll do the same thing with Thrawn. They'll do that in the book where he'll already be, you know, Grand Admiral, but he'll already be Grand Admiral, but I think Thrawn will have flashbacks into like how he became Thrawn in this new canon. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that book because I want to see if it highlights anything that happened on Rebels, and I want to see if like maybe it picks up after the events of what just happened. You know, maybe the book picks up. Maybe Thrawn won't make an appearance next season, and maybe it picks up right after the events of season 3. Although, I don't know. I kind of want him in season 4, but at the same time, I wouldn't be too upset, just for the fact that Rebels only seems to be able to focus on one villain, and like I said, I want the villain to change again. Especially with the way they did Thrawn was just, to me, the whole season Thrawn was not the Thrawn that he's supposed to be, especially since he's supposed to still be a great military strategizer. Even in this new canon, he's still a great military strategizer, and this whole season he's done nothing but fuck up. So I don't know. If they make him better, yes, I would want him back, maybe even if it's just for a little bit, before he gets like reassigned or something. But this whole season, he just was not a good Thrawn until the finale and through Imperial Eyes. Those two were the only ones that he actually showed his actual Thrawn potential in. So, I mean, if they make it like that the whole season, that'd be cool. He doesn't necessarily have to kill them, just make it so that the things that happen where he fails are not because he looks retarded. Oh, look, art. I mean, it's just like everything bad that happened was his fault. Like, it's just not Thrawn. It's like, oh, Thrawn had no backup plan? Oh, you got fooled by this completely obvious turn of events? That's not how Thrawn usually works. He usually anticipates. And then all of a sudden in the finale, he was like fucking holding ships back and stuff for any unexpected things, and I'm like, where the fuck was that all season? Where was your backup plans for anything unexpected the rest of the entire season? And you're like, I know how these rebels work. I know how they operate. And it's like, oh, it only took you a whole season to learn to hold something back for the unexpected. Okay. I mean, I would think in general... I would think in general that Thrawn, as a fucking military strategist, would prepare for the unexpected. I mean, how the hell does he never do that? Made no that whole time, this whole season, it bugged the hell out of me how stupid they made Thrawn look.
Control point capture is underway.
And I mean, Ezra's not the smartest bulb in the bunch either, which makes it 20 times worse. Like, the Ghost Crew are not the smartest people. Like, let's just throw that out there. They're not. Especially when it comes to Ezra. He's borderline of a complete fool. So it's just really, I'm just like, really Thrawn. They kind of just made him look so bad in this season, and it's upsetting. I'm just glad he redeemed himself with the finale, and I'm just gonna forget about how he was the rest of the season and just pretend it didn't exist. Because yeah, the rest of it was just awful. Yeah, I'm for a new villain, and I think Thrawn being in the books and stuff is gonna be good, just like he used to be. Maybe a live-action cameo too. That'd be cool. I'm hoping they do more live-action cameos of different characters and stuff. I mean, I guess Han doesn't really have them. Yeah, I think like the only smart people there are all the women. Is actually the women are the only smart ones in Rebels, because Sabine's pretty fucking smart, and Hera's smart. All the males in Rebels, and I just noticed this for the first time, all the males in Rebels are pretty much buffoons. The smartest male is Kanan, and he's not smart in the sense that like Hera and Sabine are. He's just wise. Like, it's you know, he's wise in that old man wiseness type sense, but he's not smart. Like he makes dumb decisions, but he's wise as far as like he just kind of sounds wise, and he just like kind of says wise quotes and stuff like that. But Kanan is still just as stupid as Ezra. So I never noticed that all the women are. Yeah, Zeb is probably the. Zeb and Ezra are tied. That's probably why they get along so well. They're pretty much tied for the stupidness award on Rebels. All the other men are smart, like the minor characters. But the main characters that are male are just retarded. they just make the dumbest choices, and that's why it pisses me off when they're the ones that outsmart Thrawn, because I'm like, Thrawn got outsmarted by these complete idiots. Oh, that makes sense. Chopper's one of my favorite characters. He has such an attitude. He has such an attitude. It's so funny. He's not even really a fuck-up. He's just a little... He's such a just whiner about everything. He's such a complainer, and then he's such a dick, too. He's like a dick to everybody. Like, God, I feel like half the things he says when he's talking, I feel like half the things he said are fucking profanities. Like, I feel like he's like, fuck you. That's like the personality he has, because he's always making fun of people. He's always basically calling them like idiots all the time. I feel like half the things that they don't explain what he's saying is basically like, fuck you. Fuck you, you fucking retard. Fuck you telling me to do something for. No, fuck you, go do it yourself, bitch. I feel like that's like half of what he's saying. If only I could understand Chopper's language, it would probably be so much more funny. But yeah, Chopper. Son of a bitch. Yeah, he's probably my favorite. He far surpasses R2 for me. He takes R2 and puts it on another level of dickheadedness, because R2 is just sarcastic for the most part, or something, or he just kind of wanders off on his own and stuff like that. But Chopper is legit just an asshole. R2 wasn't like an asshole. He's just like, all right, I'm just gonna go take care of business, but I'm not really gonna. He just went and took care of business and was just like, you know, kind of just ignored everyone else and did what he had to do. Fucking just. Chopper though? Oh my god, Chopper's just a complete ass for no reason. It's just so weird to see, like, the droids in Star Wars just get worse and worse when it comes to that aspect. They just keep getting worse and worse every fucking time. Every time there's a new droid introduced in Star Wars, like, they just get worse and fucking worse when it comes to the asshole aspect. Fucking son of a bitch! Let me activate my hero. I hate you guys.
They're taking over a control point. Stop them.
Yeah, because R2 in the, like, original trilogy was kind of smart ass. He got worse in the prequels, and then they keep just getting worse and worse. And then I love how they gave Chopper basically a C-3PO, basically C-3PO attitude droid to hang around, AP. It's basically C-3PO equivalent, so that Chopper can have somebody to basically fucking hate for being so strict and on protocol. C-3PO is probably the smartest droid in Star Wars, bro. He's just so, like, stuck up and on protocol that he ends up being stupid because it's so predictable, and the rebels have to do things differently. So it's like he's a horrible droid for the rebellion. He would be way better off if he was an Imperial droid. He'd be way better off being an Imperial droid. Because for the rebels, it just, his whole, like, programming just doesn't help at all. He would help them way more if he was on the Empire side. Because they're so organized and they do everything so repetitively and everything. That's how C-3PO works. Yeah. I feel like unlike R2 where he just ignored C-3PO, Chopper basically just he literally just hates AP. Like he's just always just expresses such contempt for him. Oh yeah, K2SO. I knew I was looking for the droid. I was like, which new droid did they add that was an improvement upon like Chopper and R2? Yeah, K2SO. That's who it was. I just couldn't think of it. I was like, I know there's another droid, and I couldn't think of the other one. Yeah, K2 is fucking great. He's like, if Chopper could talk, I feel like he would be like K2. I feel like Chopper is exactly like K2, but he just can't talk. So he has the benefit of being able to spew profanities at the Ghost Crew because he can't actually talk, so they can get away with like making it seem like he's fucking just cussing at them and everything. It's great. I really hope it would be the best if K2SO, if Cassian did appear in the next season, or one of the seasons coming up, K2SO would appear, and then Chopper and K2SO have their own episode. I think that will probably be the funniest episode of Rebels out of every season. Every season. That would probably be the best episode. They had one with like Chopper and AP5, and that was already pretty interesting. I mean, it was funny at the beginning, but as soon as Chopper got taken over, he was just normal, so it didn't really take advantage of the fact that didn't take advantage of that fact that you had two funny ass droids that could work really well together. But Chopper and fucking K2SO together in a room, oh my god, that would be the best thing ever to happen to Rebels. Oh my god, that would be so hilarious. That was seriously, like, I would probably watch that episode over and over. Even if it's a filler, that would probably be my favorite episode. There's so much potential right there to work with. Oh my god, Death Trooper. I wish the Death Troopers in here didn't have the DL-19. It's so weird seeing the Death Troopers in, like, the movie and the shows and the games. They have the accurate, like, you know, kind of rifle thing with the weird tube barrel on the end of it. But, like, in the game here, they do a DLT-19. It's the complete incorrect gun. It's a complete wrong gun for them. I wish they made a weapon specifically for these guys. And it should shoot explosive shot too, because it usually does. I feel like it shoots like, yeah, it shoots like kind of an explosive shot in a way. So I think that would be cool. Yeah, I would love to see that episode. God, is this match gonna end? It keeps going back and forth. I mean, I don't care, I guess if I can find the hero, then I'll be happy. Oh, fuck. Trying to see if anybody was the hero and got completely wayside with that. What are you looking in the sky for? What are you doing, bro? Get on the shit. Yeah. I mean, they did say a while ago too that a new Star Wars show would be coming out in the near future, like a live action one. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm just waiting for them to get off their fucking shit with like lack of. I don't know. It's a weird thing for me. I want the Galactic Empire, but I hate the extreme focus on non-lightsaber characters. I hate that focus on the non-lightsaber characters. I want like a TV show of like the Old Republic or something. But I do love the Galactic Empire. Like that's definitely one of my favorite time periods. I just wish there was a show that focused on the Empire, like Sidious and Vader, because you know I hate the lack of force powers that they seem to be focusing on. Like, I love the Galactic Empire, but I love the Galactic Empire specifically for the Empire side of it, not really the Rebel side of it. So, like, having no extra insight into Sidious and Vader is just kind of shitty. I want more stuff on them, on that side of the Empire side of the Empire. Basically like a Star Wars Rebel show, but it should be called Star Wars Empire. Or Star Wars Imperials or something. That's the show that I want. And not about the fucking stormtroopers. Oh my god, that would piss me off so much. A show just about stormtroopers.
Imperials are taking the final
I want it to be about
control
Sidious and Vader. And see, the problem with that is that it wouldn't be a show. It'd have to be a movie. You can't make a really long-running show that focuses on two characters that you can't really do too much with, because certain changes would definitely mess up their story. Actually, no, you can do a lot with them because they really haven't been shown. You don't know what the fuck they're doing the whole time throughout most of the movies. So actually, yeah, they could do a whole show. Probably runs a decent amount of seasons about Sidious and Darth Vader, especially if they start with Darth Vader, like, especially if they start immediately after forming the Galactic Empire, like how basically Sidious and everything, how they grew the Galactic Empire to what it was in A New Hope, the period between Episode 3, right when Episode 3 ended. If they start right there, they could run so many seasons. Horrible aim. Hey, they have good aim. No one's as precise as Imperial Stormtroopers. But anyway, yep, so that's my review of Rebels Season 3 and the finale and all that stuff, and speculation, so, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.